Saint Paisios of Holy Mount Athos, one of the recent saints of the Christian Orthodox Church, says, "When we think of the saints also think of us and help us. One is either a mirror or can lid. Unless the sun's rays fall on it, it does not shine. The saint shone with the rays of God's grace, as the stars receive light from the sun. If you can, read every day the lives of saints, of the saint who is celebrated, to connect with all the saints. The study of the life of the saint of the day, of the life of Saint Synaxarion, in general helps a lot because it warms the soul and motivates it to imitate the saints. They were people just like we are. Now, man then puts aside every kind of malice and proceeds with levity. The lives of Saint Synaxarion help with mental powers and even martyrdom, going through our tribulations, each one of us lifting our crosses. When we think of the saints think of us and help us. This is how one gains friendship with the saints, which is the surest friendship. Every day we have so many saints who are celebrated. The presence of the saints is alive, and then we still don't find them, but they find us. This is also the work of all the saints in general, to help and protect us, the suffering people, from visible and invisible temptations. Our job is, as much as we can, to live spiritually, not to upset Christ, to light the candle to the saints and ask them to help us. In this life, we need help so that we can get close to Christ. And in the next life, if God claims us and we go to him, neither will we weary the saints, nor will there be any reason to ask them to help us. Good people are everywhere, but there are no saints anywhere else except in Christianity, and the Virgin Mary and our saints scandalously help us. What country has the saints that we have? He says, Alaska. He's talking about Greece and the Greek saints. Greece does not produce cars, but it still produces saints. This is where its value lies, in its living Christian Orthodox tradition, which even today produces saints, the most precious thing, he says. Many unknown saints help even without us knowing them. They are greater saints for me. They have no glory from men, but only from God. And out of great humility, they persistently begged God. So the calculation tells me to remain unknown, so as not to be honored by people, but to continue to help them in the same way. In other words, in hiding. And these unknown saints, we must hold them in great reverence and owe them much gratitude, because they silently help us with their embassies and with their silent example and their invisibility. Once I wanted to write about a father on Mount Athos. We know Saint Paisios was an Athonite monk, and he died there. He said, I wrote about a father on Mount Athos who had fallen asleep, and in other words, he passed away. I had brought to mind all the incidents of his life that I knew, and one night I sat down to write them. I lit the candle, took the pencil and the notebook, but I remembered nothing, not even his name. While I lived him very vividly in those days, I brought to my mind the whole Mount Athos in order, the monasteries, the sketas, the little huts through which I had passed. I also took it from the east side in case I remembered something, but nothing. I also got it from the west, but nothing. I took the time from when I went to Mount Athos and thought about which fathers I associated with, and in the end I could not remember his name or anything. Apparently the father did not want to reveal himself, and God performed his miracle, taking away my memories of him. So far, all I remember is that his life had impressed me more than the lives of all the other holy fathers I wrote about. From this I also understood that if God does not will, man cannot do anything. And again, if God blows, man can become a philosopher. Now, whether a saint will, in other words, giving his Holy Spirit. Now, if God wills, whether a saint will perform miracles or not is a matter for God, but many miracles of the saints remain unknown. Christ said, I will give you power to do more and greater miracles than I have done. This word of Christ shows both his humility and the wealth of grace he gives us. Christ's humiliation is touching. He gives the saints the grace and power to resurrect even the dead like him. God gave us the ability to become saints, to perform miracles just like as he did. One that we did not offer anything of ours to Christ, at least not to embitter him, but to offer him our gratitude and with great reverence to celebrate his holy passion. Also our saints who shed their blood or sweat and tears for the love of Christ, let us celebrate them with reverence so that we ourselves can be helped. And when we hear their life story, and on this day in memory of Saint, he says, let us stand upright reverently as soldiers of Christ, standing at attention when the names of their heroically fallen comrades are read. When the soul lives the saint, it asks with reverence and faith for his help, and how the saints save you, how many short circuits they save you from. We must never forget that we have by our side, apart from people who can help us spiritually, and himself, Christ who helps us, the Virgin Mary, the cherubim, the seraphim, and all the saints. Courage then, Christ is very strong, he is almighty, and he will give his divine power to crush the horns of the wicked one. He's always watching us invisibly and will strengthen us when we have the goodwill and do our best. And the next video I want to upload is the Holy Bible passage I opened today after doing my daily prayer and thinking about the difficulties in our lives and the people around me. And a very apropos passage opened up, so that will be my next video. And how Christ upholds us, giving us strength from his word, which we open up and read every day by chance. And as our church tells us, do this at least 3 times a day. And this I've translated for you from a Greek article concerning Saint Paisios. Please leave your comments. Thank you for your support. Kindly support my Patreon account. The daily posts are 5 videos daily, and they are totally different from what I have on my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for your support, and that you find all my content so interesting. You'll find the Patreon account details in the description box below.